गुरवे गौरचन्द्राय राधिकायै तदालयै कृष्णाय कृष्णभक्ताय तद्भक्ताय नमो नमः.
Srila Raghunatha Bhatta Gosvami, the Ragatmika Brajabasi and Bhagavat Acharya, a Bhaktabandhav publication. Part 1. Sri Sri Guru Gauranga Jayata. The very mention of Srila Raghunatha Bhatta Goswami's name makes one's life successful. In the Gaur Ganadesh Dipika 185 it is said, Raghunatha kya ko bhatta pura ya raga manjari krita Shri Radhika kunda kutira basati satu. Raghunath Bhatta Goswami is Raga Manjari, who made his hut on the bank of Radhika's Kund. Srila Raghunath Bhatta Goswami appeared as the son of Sri Tapan Mishra in the year 1425 Shakabda. Raghunath Bhatta was deeply realized and conversant in the purports of the Srimad Bhagavatam. He was born in East Bengal in the village of Bahulaya Gram, which was part of a village called Rampur. Rampur was situated on the banks of the Padma River. Tapan Mishra, the father of Raghunath Bhatta. As explained in the Sri Chaitanya Bhagavat, Raghunath Bhatta's father was a pious swan-like Brahmin named Tapan Mishra, who lived in present-day Bangladesh. He was intent on performing bhajan of the Lord and was a seeker of the absolute truth, with no other interests in life. He wanted to know Sadhya Sadhan Tattva, the philosophical conclusions based on the goal and the means to achieve the goal. But he could not find anyone to explain this to him clearly. He chanted the mantra of his worshipful deity day and night, but since he was not practicing the limbs of sadhan, his mind was not satisfied. In the Bhakti Granthas, 64 limbs of bhakti are described. Among these limbs of sadhan, 5 limbs have been described as the topmost. Among these 5, Nam Kirtan is the best, as shown by Sriman Mahaprabhu. Until one accepts the chanting of the holy names, the other limbs will not bear fruit. Chanting the holy names is the only practice, sadhan, for developing the goal, sadhya, love for Krishna. Without Nam Kirtan, Krishna is not pleased and achieving perfection is impossible. In the absence of Krishna Prem, the heart will always remain unsatisfied and there cannot be peace of mind. Lost in his thoughts, late one night, Tapan Mishra had an auspicious dream. A divine personality appeared before him and said, O self-controlled Brahmin, please listen. Steady your mind and do not worry any more. Go and see Nimai Pandit. He will tell you the goal of life and the process of attaining it. He is not an ordinary human being, but Nara Narayan himself. He is performing human-like pastimes for the sake of delivering this world. This truth is hidden even to the Vedas. Therefore, don't tell anyone. If you do, you will suffer life after life. As the divine personality disappeared, Tapan Mishra woke from his sleep. After seeing that auspicious dream, he began to weep. Composing himself, he extolled his extraordinary good fortune and immediately left to meet Sri Gauranga. Sri Gaura Sundara was sitting with his students when Tapan Mishra arrived and fell at his feet. He then stood up with folded hands and said, I am the most fallen person. Please give me your merciful glance and save me from this material existence. How can I engage in Bhagavat Seva? I don't know anything about the goal of life, nor the means for attaining it. Therefore, kindly explain this to me. My mind does not find happiness in material pleasures. Therefore, O merciful Lord, please tell me how my soul can be pleased. Sri Gaurasundar replied, O Brahmin, you are very fortunate. You have a desire to worship Krishna, which bestows all perfection. Bhajan of the Lord is very difficult. Therefore, the Lord himself personally establishes and preaches the religious principles for the age. He descends to fix the 4 religious principles for the 4 different ages, and after establishing true religion, he returns to his own abode. Paritranaya sadhunam vinasaya chaduskritam dharma sangstapanarthaya sambhavami yuge yuge. To protect my pure devotees, Krishna says, to annihilate the miscreants and re-establish the principles of religion, I appear in every age. Asan varnastrayo hyasya granato anuyugam tanu suklo raktas tata pita idhanim krishnatam gata. Srimad Bhagavatam 10.8.13. Your son Krishna appears in every age as an incarnation. Previously, he took on 3 different colors, white, red, and yellow, and now he has accepted a blackish complexion. The above statement and many others in various Puranas prove that Gaurasundar is Sri Krishna, the origin of all incarnations. The above mentioned verse was spoken at the time of Sri Krishna's name-giving ceremony by Sri Gargacharya. By speaking this verse, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is hinting to his own identity as Swayam Bhagavan. Sri Gaurasundara continued, the religious practice for the age of Kali is Nam Sankirtan. The 4 dharmas for the 4 yugas are for the deliverance of the jivas. Kriteya dhyayato vishnum tritayam yajato makai dvapare paricharyayam kalo tadhari kirtanat. Bhagavatam 12.352. Whatever results are acquired in Satya Yuga by meditation on Sri Vishnu, in Treta Yuga by doing fire sacrifices, and in Dwapara Yuga by rendering services to the deity, are obtained in Kali Yuga simply by Hari Kirtan. Therefore, the sum and substance of all religious practices in the age of Kali is the sacrifice of chanting the Lord's holy names. One cannot be saved by practicing any other dharma. The Vedas cannot fully describe the glories of one who chants the holy names day and night, even while eating and sleeping. Such persons are liberated souls because they are attached to always remembering Sri Hari. Please listen, dear Tapan Mishra. There is no other penance or sacrifice prescribed for this age of Kali. He who worships Krishna is most fortunate. Therefore, go back home and serve Sri Krishna with one pointed attention, giving up all forms of duplicity. By Nam Sankirtan, everything is achieved, the goal of life, sadhya, and the means for attaining it. Harir Nama, Harir Nama, Harir Nam Eva Kevalam, Kalu Nasteva, 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 Gatir Anyata. In the age of Kali, there is no other way than chanting Harinam. There is no other way, there is no other way. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. This is called the Mahamantra. It has 16 names comprising 32 syllables. When the seed of love of God sprouts in your heart by continuously chanting Nam, you will understand the goal of life and the process for achieving it. Nam Sankirtan is everyone's dharma in Kali Yuga. It is the topmost dharma. You should chant Harinam day and night. By this Nam Yagya, Bhagavan Sri Krishna will definitely be pleased with you. This is the essence of Sadhya Sadhan Tattva. After hearing these teachings from the Lord's mouth, Tapan Mishra, the best of the Brahmins, repeatedly offered obeisances to the Lord and said, "If you allow, I would like to go with you." The Lord then replied, "You should go at once to Varanasi. I will meet you there and explain to you the truth of Sadhyan Sadhan Tattva further." Sri Gaur Hari instructed Tapan Mishra to go to Varanasi, the residence of Shiv Thakur and a place of unadulterated goodness. By staying in such a place, he would become the recipient of many realizations. He would then understand Gaurhari's words as they are. Gaurasundar also knew that Varanasi would be an ideal place for the upbringing of Tapan Mishra's son, Srila Raghunatha Bhatta Gosvami. Shiv Thakur resides in the Manikarnika Ghat, where bodies are cremated. He is not disturbed by any worldly people there. Nirgun Tattva will be achieved by staying in a Nirgun place. Shiv Thakur gives Tarak Brahma Ram Nam and purifies everyone in his abode. He cares for everyone. Therefore, the greatest guardians are present in the holy abodes of this world. By residing in such places, a relation is easily made with bona fide Vaishnavas. The unconditional mercy of the Lord is always present there. Under the guidance of the Vaishnavas, everything is learnt and practiced. Therefore, realization is bound to come in their company. Conversely, by staying with ordinary people, sadness, madness, and the desire to enjoy will only increase. Millions of lives have been spent uselessly, and this life will also be spent in pursuing the whims of the mind. Another understanding is given by our Guru Varga as to why Tapan Mishra was instructed to go to Varanasi. There were many Mayavadis residing in Varanasi who were cultivating Gyan and were opposed to Nam Kirtan. Later on, when Tapan Mishra inquired from the Lord about Sadhyan Sadhan Tattva, and the Lord personally replied, the persons who were inspired for liberation were delivered from that desire and obtained the chance to serve the Lord. Thus, Gaudhari sent his devotee Tapan Mishra to reside at Kashi. Therefore, Mahaprabhu said, don't stay here, go quickly to Varanasi. The Lord embraced Tapan Mishra, whose hair stood on end out of ecstatic love. Tapan Mishra felt great bliss after being embraced by the Lord of Vaikuntha. As he was leaving, Tapan Mishra caught hold of the Lord's lotus feet and privately described his auspicious dream. Hearing about the dream, the Lord said, this is true, but don't tell this to anyone. Gaurasundar again forbade Tapan Mishra from talking about his dream to anyone, and he then smiled and prepared to return from East Bengal to Navadvip. In this way, Sri Gaudhari blessed the land of East Bengal and then returned home. True to his word, Tapan Mishra also immediately left for Varanasi along with his son Srila Raghunatha Bhatta Gosvami. Chandrasekhar Acharya also accompanied him. Gauranga later came to Varanasi after accepting sannyas. Mahaprabhu meets Raghunath on his way to Vrindavan. When Chaitanya Mahaprabhu left Jagannath Puri to go to Vrindavan, he travelled through the Jharikand forest to Kasi or Varanasi. Arriving in Kasi, the Lord went to the muddy Karnika Ghat to take bath. When the Lord came to the Ghat, Tapan Mishra happened to be there taking his bath. Seeing Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Tapan Mishra was surprised and thought, I have heard that Gauranga has accepted sannyas. Weeping, he grabbed the lotus feet of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and the Lord picked him up and embraced him. Tapan Mishra then took Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to visit the temple of Vishveshwar and Bindu Madhav. In great joy, Tapan Mishra brought Mahaprabhu to his house and began to dance in ecstasy. He washed Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's lotus feet, and afterwards he and his whole family drank the Charanamrita. Tapan Mishra also respected and worshipped Mahaprabhu's servant Balabhadra Bhattacharya. He invited Mahaprabhu to accept lunch at his home, and he requested Balabhadra Bhattacharya to cook. Raghunath was a young boy at that time. Bhiksha kori Mahaprabhu korila sayan, Mishra putra Raghu kori pada sambahan. Madhya Lila 1790. When Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu took rest, after lunch, Raghu, Tapan Mishra's son, massaged his legs. Mahaprabhu's remnants were then honoured by Tapan Mishra's whole family. When the news of the Lord's arrival spread, Chandrasekhar Vaidya came to see him. Chandrasekhar was a friend of Tapan Mishra and a devotee of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. He was a physician by caste, and by profession he was a clerk. At the time, he was residing in Varanasi. Weeping, Chandrasekhar fell down and caught hold of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's lotus feet. The Lord lifted him up and embraced him out of his causeless mercy. Chandrasekhar said, My Lord, you have bestowed great mercy by giving this fallen servant your darshan. Due to my past actions, I am residing at Varanasi, But here I do not hear anything apart from Maya and Brahma. They do not discuss anything apart from the 6 philosophies. Tapan Mishra has been very merciful to me, for he speaks Krishna Katha. Prabhu, we both constantly think of your lotus feet. Although you are the omniscient Supreme Lord, you have given us your darshan. My Lord, I have received the news that you are heading towards Vrindavan. Please be kind and stay here at Varanasi for a few days and deliver us, for we are your 2 servants. Tapan Mishra then spoke, My Lord, as long as you remain at Varanasi, please do not accept any invitation for your lunch meal other than mine. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu had no desire to remain at Varanasi, but being obliged by the requests of his 2 servants, he stayed for 10 days. Mahaprabhu returns from Vrindavan. After visiting Mathura Vrindavan, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu returned to Kashi via Prayag. In Prayag, Mahaprabhu instructed Rup Goswami for 10 days and ordered him to go to Braj. When Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came back to Kashi after going to Vrindavan, he stayed at the house of Chandrasekhar for 2 months and would honor prasadam at the house of Tapan Mishra. Raghunath Balye Koila Prabhu's Sevan Uchista Marjan Ar Pad Sambahan Adi Lila 10, 155. The young boy Raghunath served Mahaprabhu by taking away his remnants, cleaning his eating place, and massaging his feet. While staying at the house of Chandrasekhar, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu gave many instructions on Sadhya Sadhan Tattva. Srila Raghunatha Bhatta Gosvami was only a boy at that time, and he rendered many personal services to the Lord, like massaging Mahaprabhu's lotus feet and smearing sandalwood paste on them. He would also serve the Vaishnavas like Sanatan Goswami and others. Mahaprabhu was very happy by his services. Raghunath Bhatta would also go and bathe with Mahaprabhu in the Manikarnika Ghat. Mahaprabhu, Tapan Mishra, Chandrasekhar, Raghunath Bhatta, and the others would then perform Nam Sankirtan. Raghunath would always engage himself in Harinam Sankirtan and in studying the Srimad Bhagavatam. During these 2 months, Mahaprabhu met Sanatan Goswami and gave many instructions to him, which are famous as Sanatan Shiksha. Raghunath had the opportunity to continuously hear from Mahaprabhu. At this time, Tapan Mishra and Chandrasekhar became very unhappy because of the criticism of Mahaprabhu by the Mayavadi sannyasis. Seeing their unhappiness, Mahaprabhu honored a Brahmin's invitation to go to his home. On that pretext, Mahaprabhu went and delivered Prakashananda Saraswati and all his disciples. In this way, Raghunath witnessed the Lord's pastimes with his associates. After residing for 2 months in Varanasi, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu decided to return to Jagannath Puri. He got up in the night and began to leave, but 5 devotees began to follow him. Madhya Lila 25, 180. Tapan Mishra, Raghunath, Maharashtriya Brahmin, Chandrasekhar, Kirtaniya, Paramananda, Panchajan. These 5 devotees were Tapan Mishra, Raghunath, the Maharashtriya Brahmin, Chandrasekhar, and the Kirtaniya Paramananda. They wanted to go with Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to Jagannath Puri, but the Lord affectionately bade them farewell, saying, "If you want to see me, you may come to Puri later, but for the time being I shall travel alone through the Jarikanda forest." In this way, the Lord left them all behind and proceeded to Puri. Some days later, Rup Goswami and Anupam arrived in Varanasi after having visited Braj on their way back to Bengal. They stayed in the house of Chandrasekhar and would take prasadam at Tapan Mishra's house. During this time, young Raghunath had the chance to meet and serve Rup Goswami for the first time, along with his younger brother Anupam. Rup Goswami heard from the devotees about Mahaprabhu's instructions to Sanatan Goswami and how he delivered the Mayavadi sannyasis. Hearing all this and seeing how all the people of Kashi had developed faith in Mahaprabhu, Rup Goswami became very happy. After staying there for 10 days, Rup Goswami and Anupama returned to Bengal. Once Mahaprabhu left Varanasi, Srila Raghunatha Bhatta Goswami continued to do Shravan Kirtan daily with all the devotees. He would offer bhog to Mahaprabhu and distribute his remnants to everyone. Raghunath goes to Puri. Some years later, when Raghunath had grown into a young man, Jagadananda Pandit came through Varanasi on his way to Vrindavan and met with Tapan Mishra and others. He passed through Varanasi on his way back and then arrived in Puri, much to the joy of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and all the devotees. Meeting Jagadananda Pandit had increased Raghunath's eagerness to meet Mahaprabhu. Thus, shortly after, Raghunath Bhattacharya decided to leave home and go meet Mahaprabhu. Eta Tapan Mishra Putra Raghunath Bhattacharya Prabhu Redhe Kite Chalila Chadi Sarva Karya Antilila 1390. During this time, Raghunath Bhattacharya, Tapan Mishra's son, gave up all his duties and left to meet Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. When Raghunath Bhatta left to Puri for Mahaprabhu's darshan, he first went to Bengal to bring gifts for Mahaprabhu. Accompanied by one servant carrying his baggage, Raghunath Bhatta travelled along the path leading through Bengal. In Bengal, he met Ramdas Vishwas, who was a Kayast by caste and the king's secretary. Ramdas Vishwas was a learned scholar in all the scriptures, as well as a teacher of the famous book Kavya Prakash. He was known as an elevated devotee because he was a worshipper of Sri Ramchandra. He had renounced everything and was on his way to see Lord Jagannath. He would chant Ram Nam during the 8 periods of the day. Ramdas Vishwas met Raghunath Bhatta on the way and they began to travel together. When he met Raghunath, Ramdas was immediately drawn to him because of the Harikatha he spoke. Upon reaching maturity, Srila Bhatta Goswami had begun speaking Harikatha, and by his explanations on the Bhagavatam, he would drown everyone in Brajaras. Thus, Ramdas Vishwas was very attracted to the Harikatha he heard from Raghunath Bhatta, and a desire to serve him entered his heart. He asked permission to carry the gifts that Raghunath had brought for Mahaprabhu, and he placed them on his head for the rest of the journey. He would also massage Srila Raghunath Bhatta when he would become tired. Ramdas served Raghunath Bhatta in various ways, but Raghunath felt some hesitation in accepting all this service. Raghunath Bhatta would say, "This is not proper. You are a servant of the king, a pandit, and a Mahabhagavat devotee of Lord Ram. Please don't serve me, just accompany me." But Ramdas would not listen. He would say, "I am a Sudra and a fallen soul. Serving a Brahmin is my dharma. I am your servant. Indeed, I become very happy by serving you. Please don't be inconvenienced by me. Sri Ramchandra has bestowed his mercy upon me through you." In this way, Ramdas served Raghunath Bhatta sincerely. Ramdas would chant Ram's names continuously during the day and night. While chanting Ram's names, he would also carry the basket of gifts for Mahaprabhu. Travelling in this way, Raghunath Bhatta arrived shortly in Jagannath Puri. Feeling great delight, Srila Raghunath Bhatta ran to where Mahaprabhu was and offered his prostrated obeisance to him. Mahaprabhu became very happy seeing him and loudly called out, "Raghunath! Danda Paranam Kari Bhatta Parila Charane Prabhu Raghunath Jani Koila Alingane." Antilila 13:101. Raghunath fell to the ground like a stick at Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's lotus feet. The Lord embraced him, knowing he was Raghunath, the son of Tapan Mishra. The Lord asked, "How are Chandrasekhar Acharya and your father Tapan Mishra?" "They are well," Raghunath Bhatta replied, "and have sent you their Dandavat pranams." "It is good you have come," Mahaprabhu said. "You are very fortunate. Now go for Jagannath's darshan. Today, please come and honor prasad with me." Mahaprabhu himself would always praise Srila Raghunath Bhatta Goswami's cooking. He would say, "Raghunath cooks so beautifully. He will cook and feed Jagannath from tomorrow. I will also honor prasad with him." Mahaprabhu asked Govinda to arrange for Raghunath Bhatta's room and then introduced him to all the devotees, headed by Sri Swarup Damodar, Ramananda Roy, Sikha Mahiti, Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya, and Kashi Mishra. Ramdas Vishwas also met with Mahaprabhu, but the Lord did not bestow any special mercy upon him. Internally, Ramdas Vishwas aspired for impersonal liberation and was very proud of his learning. Being the omniscient Supreme Lord, Mahaprabhu did not show Ramdas any special favor. Ramdas Vishwas began living in Jagannath Puri and taught the Kavya Prakash to the Patanayak family, who are descendants of Bhavananda Roy. Raghunath Bhatta stayed in the association of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu for 8 months, and by the Lord's mercy, his happiness increased day by day. Mahaprabhu would become very happy seeing him. By giving him his darshan, he would make Srila Bhatta Gosvami drown in the ocean of bliss. He would also cook and invite Mahaprabhu to honor Mahaprasad. By honoring the prasad Srila Bhatta Goswami had cooked, Mahaprabhu would become overjoyed. He would cook rice with various vegetables and thus served Mahaprabhu. Raghunath Bhatta pake ati sutpana, ye rande se hoy amrita sama. Raghunath Bhatt was expert at cooking, and whatever he cooked became like nectar. In Krishna Lila, Raghunath Bhatta is Rag Manjari. Therefore, we can see in Mahaprabhu's pastimes how he would serve so nicely with Anurag. Mahaprabhu would become exceedingly happy by his services. Anything he would cook would be nectarian. Mahaprabhu would take all the items prepared by Raghunath with great satisfaction, and after honoring Mahaprasad, Mahaprabhu would give his remnants to Raghunath. When Srila Raghunath Bhatta had stayed with Mahaprabhu for 8 months and was preparing to leave, Mahaprabhu told him, "Do not marry. Marriage binds one to sangsara. By associating with Vishayis, materialists, the desire to engage in Bhagavad Bhakti will be lost. And by attachment to sangsara, it becomes very difficult to offer all your love to Bhagavan." He further ordered Raghunath Bhatta, "When you return home, serve your elderly parents and study the Bhagavatam from the Vaishnavas." Punarapi ek bar asiha nila chale, ita bholi kantamala dila tar ghale, alingan kori prabhu vidhai tar dhila, preme ghara ghara batta khandita lagila. Antilila 13, 114, 115. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu concluded, "Come once again to Nilachal." Having said this, the Lord put his own neck beads on Raghunath Bhatta's neck and embraced him, bidding him farewell. Overwhelmed with prem, Raghunath Bhatta wept in separation from Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. After taking leave from Mahaprabhu and all his devotees, like Swarup Damodar, Raghunath Bhatta returned to Varanasi. In accordance with Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's orders, Raghunath continuously rendered service to his parents for 4 years. Mahaprabhu had told him, "Serve your parents, they are Vaishnavas." Chaitanya Mahaprabhu had given the order to Bhatta Goswami the first time he returned to Varanasi. Stay in Varanasi and study the Bhagavatam under the guidance of a qualified Vaishnava. Raghunath Bhatta thought, "There are many Mayavadis in Varanasi. Where can I find Vaishnavas? How can I know who a Vaishnava is? A Vaishnava will never announce himself." Raghunath prayed to Mahaprabhu, and the Lord then inspired him with the following Bhagavatam verse spoken by Yamaraj. Swayambur Narada Shambhu Kumara Kapilo Manu Praladho Janako Bhishmo Pralirvaya Saki Vayam 6.3.20. Brahma, Narad, Shiv, the 4 Kumaras, Lord Kapila, Swayambhuva Manu, Prahlad Maharaj, Janak Maharaj, Bhishma, Bali Maharaj, Sukadev Goswami, and I myself know the real religious principle. These 12 Mahajans know the Bhagavat. Where can I find them now? Raghunath Bhatta thought. Mahaprabhu replied, "I sent you to Varanasi, Shiv Thakur's residence. The Srimad Bhagavatam is very dear to Shiv Thakur. Pray to him, and he will arrange for you to meet a Shuddha Vaishnav. The Vaishnavas are very dear to him. He will show you the Bhakta Bhagavat. Jaha Bhagavata Para Vaishnavirastan. The Bhagavatam should be studied with the Vaishnavas. Raghunath Bhatta would chant and perform kirtan and stavstutis. Every day he would go to Shiv Thakur's temple for darshan. He would perform kirtan there. By Mahaprabhu's and Shiv Thakur's mercy, he obtained the association of a pure Bhagavat Premi sadhu. Externally, the sadhu dressed like a Mayavadi, but he was very subtle in his manners. According to the words of Guru and Vaishnavas, he was a disciple of Sri Madhavendra Puripad. He was a very hidden Vaishnava. By Shiv Thakur's inspiration and Mahaprabhu's order, this Vaishnava gave guidance to Raghunath Bhatta Goswami and helped him relish the Bhagavatam, which is full of spontaneous divine love. Sweetness pervades every syllable of the Bhagavatam. Although Bhatta Goswami was a dear eternal associate of Bhagavan, he performed the pastime of learning the Bhagavatam. When his parents left the world at Varanasi, renouncing his home, Raghunath returned to Mahaprabhu and became absorbed in the Lord's service. Swarup Damodar and the other associates of Mahaprabhu became happy to see him. As before, Raghunath remained with Mahaprabhu for 8 months. The Lord himself personally instructed him in many ways. Mahaprabhu then spoke the following order: Amar agyay Raghunath jaha brindavane taha jana raha rup sanatan stane Bhagavat parasada laha Krishna nam achire kuribin kripa Krishna Bhagavan. Antilila 13, 120, 121. My dear Raghunath, on my order, go to Brindavan and remain under the shelter of Rupa and Sanatan Goswami. Speak on the Bhagavatam and always chant Krishna Nam. Krishna will quickly bestow upon you his full mercy. After saying this, Mahaprabhu embraced Raghunath, and by the Lord's mercy, Raghunath became maddened in Krishna Prem. When Mahaprabhu embraced Srila Bhatta Goswami, Bhagavat Prem manifested in his heart. Mahaprabhu then gave him a giant tulasi garland that Jagannath had worn, as well as his remnant pan bira, the Lord's betel nut remnants. Srila Bhatta Goswami accepted them as his worshipful deities and preserved them very carefully. Thus ends part 1 of Raghunath Bhatta Goswami, the Ragatmika Brajbasi and Bhagavat Acharya.
Radhe 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 Chandraya Radhikayai Tadalayai Krishnanya Krishna Bhaktaya Tadabhakta Janamo Namah.
Srila Raghunath Bhatta Goswami, Ragatmika Brajbasi and Bhagavat Acharya, a Bhaktabandhav publication, Part 2, Coming to Braj. Taking leave from Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Raghunath Bhatta then left for Brindavan. When he arrived there, he placed himself under the care of Rupa and Sanatan Goswami. He took up his residence near the temple of Sri Radha Damodar, where Sri Rupa Goswami resided. He also had a bhajan kutir in Topi Kunj near the Sri Radha Vallabha temple, where he would always meditate and serve in the eternal pastimes of Radha and Krishna. Later, he lived by Radha Kund in a small hut. When reciting Srimad Bhagavatam in the association of Rupa and Sanatan, Raghunath Bhatta would become overwhelmed with ecstatic love for Krishna. Mahaprabhu had told him previously, "I will be very happy if you speak on the Bhagavatam to everyone in Vrindavan." Indeed, Mahaprabhu would himself relish listening to him recite the Bhagavatam. When Raghunath Bhatta would recite the Bhagavatam, the devotees of Vrindavan would come to listen to him, including the other Goswamis. When he would describe the moods of the gopis, everyone would become overwhelmed by bhav. he described the separation the gopis felt from Krishna at Uddhava. The gopis were completely absorbed in Mahabhav. When Uddhava came, he had darshan of Srimati Radharani's utmost limit of separation. On beholding such separation, Uddhava realized that it is not possible for such love to exist anywhere but in Srimati Radharani. We cannot understand such love by our speculation. Asru kampa gadgara prabhura kripate netra kantarodhe paspana pare parite pikaswara kantatate ragera vibhaga ekasloka parita firai tinchari rag Krishna rasundharya madhurya jabe pode sune premite vival tabe kichui na jane. Antya Lila 13, 127-29. By the mercy of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he experienced the symptoms of ecstasy such as trembling, faltering of the voice, eyes filling with tears, and becoming choked up, and thus for some time he would be unable to speak. His voice was as sweet as a cuckoo's, and he could recite each verse of the Bhagavatam in 3 or 4 tunes. His recitations were very sweet to hear. When he recited about the beauty and sweetness of Krishna, he would be overwhelmed with ecstatic love and become oblivious to everything. All the connoisseurs of the transcendental mellows of Raj would come to hear him speak. Everyone's hearts would melt and they would become maddened in ecstatic love for Krishna. They would transcend samsara and experience bhavs of the ever-increasing prem. By listening to him even once, a person's bondage to material existence would be severed. Such was the effect of the medicine of his katha. The listeners would experience the topmost spiritual nectar. If a speaker of the Bhagavat is niskinchan and akinchan, whose only possession is love of God, then the listener can enter Bhagavat Dharma simply by hearing. Thereafter, the pastimes of Sri Radha Krishna will also manifest in the heart of the listener because he received the qualification to serve in the fully blossomed state. Therefore, Mahaprabhu bestowed special mercy on Srila Raghunatha Bhatta Gosvami. Whoever would listen to his Harikatha would receive transcendental knowledge and would have realization of the spiritual realm. Those who would come to listen to him speak on the Bhagavat would ask for initiation from him. Srila Bhatta Goswami only initiated devotees because it was the order of Srila Rupa Goswami. Thus, he gave Diksha and Siksha and accepted many disciples. When Maharaj Man Singh of Jaipur became the disciple of Srila Raghunatha Bhatta Goswami, he built the magnificent red-stoned Govindaji temple. He also presented a golden flute, earrings, and other ornaments for Sri Govindadev. Govinda charane koila atma samarpan, Govinda charanavinda, yara prayanadhan, nija shishye kahe, Govindera mandira koila, vangsi makara kundaladi, bhushana koridhila. Antya Lila 13, 130-131. Raghunath Bhatta surrendered his soul at the lotus feet of Govinda, and those lotus feet became the treasure of his life. He had many wealthy disciples who made all the arrangements for Govindadev's daily services and would make all the arrangements for his festivals, such as flower decorations, clothing for the Lord, the distribution of Mahaprasad, and a place for the devotees to stay in Vrindavan. Srila Raghunath Bhatta Goswami cared for the 7 main temples of Vrindavan, especially the Govinda Ji, along with his disciple. He would constantly serve them, and he would never speak or listen to Gramya Katha, village talk. Gramya Vardana Sunena Kahe Jivai, Krishna Katha Pujadite Asta Prahare Jai. Antya Lila 13, 132. Raghunath Bhatta would never listen nor speak about anything mundane. He would simply talk about Krishna and worship the Lord during the 8 periods of the day. Vaishnavira Nindya Karma Nahi Parekane, Sabe Krishna Bhajana Kore, Ematra Jane. Antya Lila 13, 133. He would only busy himself with Krishna Nam, Krishna Katha, and Krishna Puja, and would never criticize the Vaishnavas. neither would he let the blasphemy of a Vaishnav enter his ears. He knew only that all are engaged in serving Krishna. Being always absorbed in the many moods of Krishna Prem, he would perform his services with great happiness. He would wear the garland that Mahaprabhu had given him and honored the cloth of Jagannath as well. Mahaprabhur dattamala mananerakale prasadakadhara saha bandilina ghale Antalila 13.134. When Raghunath Bhatta Goswami was immersed in remembrance of Krishna, he would bind the Tulasi garland and the prasad of Jagannath given to him by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu together and wear them around his neck. Mahaprabhu kripai Krishna prem anargala eto kahilendate Chaitanya kripa fal Antalila 13.135. By Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's mercy, Raghunath Bhatta Goswami remained constantly overwhelmed in ecstatic love for Krishna. This is the fruit of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's mercy. Mahaprabhu Raghunathe Kripa Premafal Antalila 13.137. Mahaprabhu gave Raghunath Bhatta Goswami mercy in the form of the fruit of Krishna Prem. The depth of Rupa Goswami's separation. One time, when Raghunath Bhatta Goswami was describing the moods of separation of the gopis, all the members of the audience began weeping bitterly, and some even became delirious. But Srila Rupa Goswami remained apparently undisturbed. He didn't shed any tears and his eyes were open. Upon close inspection, some devotees noticed that he didn't appear to be breathing either. Alarmed, one of the devotees put a piece of cotton under his nose. After some long moments, Rupa Goswami exhaled. The heat of separation in his breath burnt the hands of the bhakta holding the cotton. The burning fire of Rupa Goswami's separation had dried the tears in his body. Srila Raghunath Bhatta Goswami would cause such moods to swell within Rupa Goswami's heart. The village leader. Among the householders who would come from all over Vraj to listen to Raghunath Bhatta speak, there was a Sarpanch, the leader of a village of Vraj. Much to the chagrin of his wife, he would sincerely listen to Raghunath Bhatta Goswami every day. Soon after, the village leader started applying tilak on his forehead and diligently began following the etiquette of Vaishnavas. As a result, his wife became more disturbed. She thought, if I don't intervene, in a few more days he will leave home. She tried to convince him to give up his ways and even had others try at her behest. But he would not listen. Instead, he started bringing more and more people with him to listen to Srila Raghunath Bhatta Goswami. All her efforts were in vain. Finally, she thought, I must bring infamy to this Babaji. She called an attractive widow, paid her some money, and told her, go to the assembly where Raghunath Bhatta is speaking. After he completes his lecture, begin to loudly wail. Get the attention of my husband. When he asks you what is wrong, tell him, this Babaji has very bad character and has assaulted me. If you can convince the people, and especially my husband, that the Babaji abused you, then I will handsomely reward you. When the widow thus began her drama, wailing and beating her chest immediately after the class, the Sarpanch approached her and asked, what has happened? The widow said, this Babaji speaks nicely, but he is of a wretched character. He has polluted me. I don't wish to criticize him, but I must speak the truth, or he may continue doing this to others. Just see my condition. I am distraught and I cannot restrain myself. The Sarpanch calmly escorted her to a solitary place and then said, I know that Srila Raghunath Bhatta Goswami possesses immaculate character. He is situated on the platform of pure goodness. You better speak the truth. Why are you trying to make this scandal? Has someone sent you to do this? Speak the truth or you will be punished. Terrified, the widow replied, your wife promised to reward me handsomely if I did this. She said, my husband will not return to me unless we blemish the reputation of Raghunath Bhatta. Enraged and astonished that his wife would do such a thing, the Sarpanch returned home and set fire to his house, while his wife ran out and looked on helplessly in horror. Without a word in parting, the Sarpanch returned to Srila Raghunatha Bhatta Goswami and took complete shelter of his lotus feet, entering the renounced order of life. He resolved, "Why should I wait any longer? I will immediately adopt the path of true auspiciousness in life." Some people become very envious when their friends or relatives visit and respect a sadhu. By listening to a sadhu, a person's misgivings, which have accompanied him life after life, will be immediately rectified. But those who are envious of the sadhus and make grave offences to them become fit candidates to be punished by the Supreme Lord. They thus pave their own way towards a hellish existence. Pastimes in Braj. When Srila Raghunatha Bhatta Goswami came to Vrindavan, he would go for Gopishwar Darshan, Mahadev's Darshan, every day. There he would recite the slokas of the Bhagavatam. He would especially recite the Ras Panchadhyaya, the 5 chapters of the Bhagavatam that describe Sri Krishna's Rasa Leela pastimes with the gopis. It is not very difficult to please Shiv Thakur, but he may easily give worldly things when he is pleased, and the worshipful will thus be cheated. The Bhakta bathes Shiva with Bhagavat Ras. Shiv Thakur will then unconditionally help the Bhakta because he considers him to be his dearest friend. He will free him from Maya, and Maya will never be able to touch him. Thus, Shiv Thakur destroys all the anarthas of the Bhaktas. Srila Bhatta Goswami would regularly go on Govardhan Parikrama. He would sometimes reside on the banks of Radhakund and associate with the devotees there. As Mahaprabhu gave a Giridhari Shila to Raghunath Das Goswami, he also gave a Giridhari Shila to Srila Bhatta Goswami, but through the medium of an aged Vaishnava. Bhagavan himself came to him in this form. Srila Bhatta Goswami worshipped the Giridhari Shila with great love and affection, although he had already offered himself unto the lotus feet of Sri Govindadev. Srila Bhatta Goswami greatly loved and honored the rest of the 6 Goswamis. He would comment on the books of the Goswamis when he spoke on the Bhagavatam, and he would explain these books separately as well. He would discuss these books with the devotees and help everyone understand their purports. In this way, he would be instrumental in making the sadhakas into pure devotees. Srila Raghunath Bhatta Goswami arranged for many beautiful kunjas on the banks of the Jamuna, and also had 7 beautiful gardens made near the 7 main temples of Vrindavan. All the flowers and tulasi for the Lord's service would be supplied from these gardens. By his arrangement, many kunj kutirs developed in Vrindavan. In Krishna Lila, Sri Bhatta Goswami is Raga Manjari, and thus, fittingly, with his anurag, he decorated all of Vrindavan. During his time, many considered Kamyavan to be the real Vrindavan. But when the Goswamis manifested the deities of Sri Govinda, Gopinath, Madan Mohan, Radharaman, and so forth, gradually everyone accepted the reality. Srila Raghunath Bhatta Goswami manifested many pastime places of Radha Krishna like Sevakunj, Nidhuvan, Krishna's Yogapit, Vangsivat, and Keshigat. He made everyone realize the sweetness of Sri Krishna's pastime places, cow-herding pastimes, the sweetness of Vrindavan's forests and groves, the Julan or swing pastimes, and so forth. Along with the Goswamis, he manifested the glories of all these places. When the acharyas of the other sampradayas and the scholars would listen to Srila Bhatta Goswami, they couldn't help but think, we are present in Vrindavan. As Sukadev Goswami spoke the Bhagavat to Parikshit Maharaj, as Sutta Goswami spoke the Bhagavat to Shonak Rishi and the other sages, and as Gokarna spoke the Bhagavat to his brother Dundukari, similarly, Srila Bhatta Goswami spoke the glories of the Bhagavat according to the pure Vaishnava conception. Mahaprabhu's desire is shown as follows. Aradyu Bhagavan Brajesha Tanayas Taddama Brindavanam Brahmya Kachidupasana Brajavadu Vagena Yakalpita Srimad Bhagavatam Pramanam Amalam prema pumarto mahan Shri Chaitanya Mahaprabhur madamidam tatradharo na paraha. The philosophy of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is that Krishna is the only object of worship. As Krishna is the object of worship, similarly his place, Vrindavan Dham, is also worshipable. Krishna was worshipped by the damsels of Braj Dham, and Mahaprabhu recommends that theirs was the highest, topmost grade of worship, because it was pure love. Mahaprabhu also taught that Srimad Bhagavatam is the spotless Vedic literature, and Krishna Prem is the highest goal of life. Srila Bhatta Gosvami would explain this sloka and state that the Bhagavat is the spotless Puran. He would say, by studying the Bhagavat, Mahaprabhu will be pleased, and one will attain a transcendental relationship with Bhagavan, as well as a residence and fixed service in Braj. Qualification for eternal connection to the lotus feet of Ras Rasik Krishna will arise in one's heart. By listening to Srila Raghunatha Bhatta Gosvami speak, all the members of the audience would surrender unto him and seek the shelter of his lotus feet. They would then become free of their plight and anarthas. Thus, they would attain the qualification to receive the topmost spiritual wealth. The Moguls from Delhi were controlling Vrindavan and the surrounding areas, but this did not deter Srila Bhatta Goswami from continuously speaking on the Bhagavatam. Even the king of Jaipur and other esteemed personalities would come to listen to him speak, because his glories were being sung everywhere. After relishing Srila Bhatta Goswami's Katha Ras, the listeners would not desire any other ras. Srila Bhatta Goswami continuously glorified the Bhagavatam. Through Srila Raghunatha Bhatta Goswami, Mahaprabhu gave his blessings and mercy to all the residents of Braj. By distributing Bhagavat Katha Ras, Srila Bhatta Goswami made everyone established in Atma Dharma, the constitutional nature of the soul, and Paramatma Seva, service to the soul of all souls. The king of Jaipur and other wealthy and respected personalities became his disciples. They took initiation from him, surrendering themselves unto his lotus feet. His Harikatha satisfied everyone. The Bhagavatam states, Tasmin mahan mukarita madhubich charitra piyusasesha sarita paritashravanti taye pibantyavatrisho nripakada karnais tannas prasantya sanatarid Bayashoka Moha. Bhagavatam 4:29-40. My dear king, if one gets a chance to hear the uninterrupted flow of nectar from the lotus mouths of pure devotees, one will overcome the urges of hunger and thirst and become untouched by fear, lamentation, and illusion. By listening to Harikatha from Srila Raghunatha Bhatta Goswami, everyone became transcendental to lamentation, illusion, and fear. Mahaprabhu's lotus feet would then appear in their hearts by the medium of his Harikatha, and then, by Mahaprabhu's mercy, they would become established in Atma Dharma. When Srila Bhatta Goswami would dance and sing, it would seem that Mahaprabhu had appeared in his body. Everyone would become absorbed in his kirtan ras. No one knew if it was morning, afternoon, or night. Just as when Sukadev Goswami spoke the Bhagavatam to Parikshit Maharaj, no one could understand how 7 days had passed so quickly and blissfully. Similarly, the audience could not perceive the passage of time when they would listen to Srila Bhatta Goswami. After coming to Vrindavan, Srila Bhatta Goswami not only made the society of Vaishnavas drink Brajaras, he also made all the ordinary people the recipients of his mercy. By giving them the drink of Bhagavat Ras, he made their lives successful, and as a result, he made them established in their eternal dharma of service to Sri Krishna. Srila Raghunatha Bhatta Goswami would sometimes speak the Bhagavatam on the banks of the Jamuna, or at Dir Samir, or Shringarvat. When he would speak, Mahaprabhu himself and all the associates of Mahaprabhu would be present in hidden forms among the audience. If anyone listens to the supramundane qualities of Srila Raghunatha Bhatta Goswami, then their hearts will become spotlessly clean, and a natural taste to engage in Bhagavad Bhajan will appear. Srila Raghunatha Bhatta Goswami was so conversant with all the sastras that even the spiritual master of the demigods, Sri Bahaspati, would sing his glories and laud his scholarship. There was no one who was his equal in speaking on the Bhagavatam. Vyasdevji himself hankers to listen to the Srimad Bhagavatam from him. Why? He practiced every instruction he spoke, and he encouraged others to do so as well. Seeing his deep insights, even the demigods would become astonished. Srila Raghunatha Bhatta Gosvami entered a Prakrita Lila in 1501 Shakabda. It is heard that he manifested his disappearance pastime in the Govindaji Mandir, and he was given samadhi in front of the temple. Any Vaishnav who desired to practice the limbs of bhakti would go to him and take his shelter fully. Even now, devotees pray to his lotus feet to be granted entrance into the realm of Shuddha Bhakti. Thus, they can attain the qualification for eternal service in Braj. Krishna Das Kaviraj Goswami summarizes Raghunath's life. Srila Krishna Das Kaviraj Goswami summarized the glories of Srila Raghunatha Bhatta Goswami in the Adi Lila of Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita and elaborated on them in the Antya Lila. Varanasi Madhye Prabhur Bhakta Tinajan Chandrasekhar Vaidya Ar Mishritapan Raghunath Bhattacharya Mishra Nandan Prabhu Jabe Kaisha Ailak Teki Vrindavan Chandrasekhar Grihe Kaila Dui Mas Vas Tapan Mishrir Gare Bhiksha Dui Mas. Adi Lila 10, 152 to 154. Mahaprabhu had three main devotees in Varanasi. They were Chandrasekhar Vaidya, Tapan Mishra, and Raghunath Bhattacharya, the son of Tapan Mishra. When Mahaprabhu returned to Varanasi after visiting Vrindavan, for 2 months he stayed at the house of Chandrasekhar, and for 2 months he honored prasadam at the house of Tapan Mishra. Raghunath Balli Kaila Prabhur Sevan Uchista Marjan Ar Pada Sambahan. Adi Lila 10, 155. The young boy, Raghunath, served Mahaprabhu by taking away his remnants, cleaning his eating place, and by massaging his feet. Bada hele nila chale gela prabhur stane astamashra hila bhiksha dhena kona dine. Adi Lila 10, 156. When Raghunath grew up, he visited Chaitanya Mahaprabhu at Nilachal and stayed there for 8 months. Some days he would offer prasadam to Mahaprabhu. After that, on Mahaprabhu's instruction, he went to Vrindavan. Prabhu Agya Pai Vrindavan era ahila aishiya Shri Rupa Gosani Nikate Rahila. Adi Lila 157. On the order of Mahaprabhu, Raghunath came to Vrindavan and stayed there in the company of Shri Rupa Goswami. Tarastane Rupa Gosai Suneha Bhagavat Prabhur Kripai Teho Krishna Premimat 10, 158. Staying with Shri Rupa Goswami, Raghunath would recite the Srimad Bhagavatam for him to hear. By the mercy of the Lord, he remained always maddened in Krishna Prem. Thus ends part 2 of Srila Raghunatha Bhatta Goswami, Ragatmik Brajbasi and Bhagavat Acharya, a Bhaktabandhav publication. Until next time, Hare Krishna.
Radhe